Hey everybody, John Skiba here, and in this video I'm going to do something I have had a lot of people request that I do, but I've never really done, and that's address how to deal with original creditor lawsuits. And in this one I'm going to talk about specifically American Express, one of the most notoriously aggressive creditors out there. But if this is your first time here to my YouTube channel, please click subscribe. That way you'll be notified each and every week when I provide at least 2 videos per week to show you how to deal with your serious debt problems. All right, let's talk about American Express. American Express is one of the most aggressive credit card companies out there. If you fall behind on them, they go through the normal collection process and then charge the debt off at 6 months. However, they will usually file a lawsuit within a year, which is way quicker than most creditors. Not only that, most credit card companies, once they charge it off at 6 months, they'll package it up and they sell them to our friends over at Midland Funding, Portfolio Recovery, Unifund, Cavalry, all those other debt buyers. American Express does not sell their debt. They do their own collections and they file their own lawsuits. And I think that's part of the reason why they bring them so quickly is because they're dealing with them themselves. They do hire outside law firms, but they don't sell their debt. You won't see a Midland Funding case where the original creditor was American Express. It'll always be American Express right there in the plaintiff's position in the lawsuit going against you. Original creditor lawsuits pose some unique challenges. Debt buyer cases that we talk about here on the YouTube channel, they have strong defenses in that not only do they have to prove the original contract, they have to prove the damages, but they have to show that how they got it. And that's often their Achilles heel a bit, that they struggle to do that. When it comes to original creditor lawsuits, like with American Express, they're in a situation, you would hope they have all their documents and witnesses because it's all in-house. It's never left their company. And so when I have clients approach me with an original creditor lawsuit, where it's American Express or whoever it is, there's some unique challenges and unique ways we go about it. I generally will take a settlement approach unless there's like identity theft or something like that going on. I will generally take a settlement approach in trying to resolve the lawsuit. Now, something to know real quick, I have put together a new tutorial where I'll dive a little deeper than what we're going in here. I also provide some of the templates I'm going to talk about in trying to resolve these original creditor lawsuits. I'll put a link down in the bottom. But the 2 approaches I have is I really divide it into pre-litigation and post-litigation. Pre-litigation collections is fairly normal for American Express. They will, like I said, they'll do internal, they may hire out some outside collection agencies, not debt buyers, for the first 90 to 180 days, and then they'll hire an outside law firm to file a lawsuit against you. Right prior to charge off, there are opportunities to settle. Either they will reach out to you or you'll reach out to them, but that's a great time because you have a little bit of leverage. American Express, they're keenly aware of the data and the statistics that once a debt gets charged off, collection usually drops down into the teens as far as their ability to successfully collect on the debt. And so they may approach you with a relatively, I'm not going to say low, because American Express does not often settle that low, but they'll provide you with at least a proposal that I think is worth considering at that point. You'll also have one other pre-litigation place when the law firm that gets hired, they'll often send out a letter asking whether you dispute the information or not. That's also a good time to reach out and try to engage and get something in place. Once a lawsuit is filed, then it's going to be dealt with somewhat differently. Usually settlement's going to require either a lump sum or a monthly payment plan backed by a stipulated judgment. Now, a monthly or the lump sum is fairly self-explanatory. You're going to have to offer some large amount of cash to make this thing go away. I can tell you with American Express, it's going to have to be somewhere between 60 and 80% of the total balance. It just is. They don't go lower. I've tried for 2 decades, and you don't get a whole lot lower when it comes to American Express when they're suing on their debt. At that point, you're going to have to offer something that can be paid pretty quickly, usually within about 30 days if you're going to get a lump sum. You will get a pretty good deal if you're able to do a lump sum. You'll get a better deal than if you're wanting to pay this out over several years or something like that. Now, how most of the settlements go down, though, is with what's called a stipulated judgment. Sometimes they're called pocket judgments. And what that is if you're proposing, hey, look, I don't have a lump sum, but I can pay you $150 a month until I get this thing knocked out. You can do that through a stipulated judgment. And what that is they will usually draft it up. It's an actual judgment where they'll put the full balance that's owed. Then they'll also include in there a couple terms. They'll put in there the settlement amount that you negotiated and agreed to. They'll put how you're going to make these monthly payments that you're going to make, and then they'll also put a term in there called a covenant not to execute, which is as long as you're making those monthly payments, they will not garnish you. They'll not try to go further with what they're doing here. They have a judgment already, but this is their insurance policy that if you default, if you don't make the payments like you're agreeing, then they can take it, and not only do they have a judgment, they have a judgment for the full balance, and they're going to be able to garnish your wages and levy your bank account. So, and sometimes we call them pocket judgments because the idea is that you're going to sign it, they're going to put it in their pocket, and as long as you're making those monthly payments, you're fine. You'll pay off the settlement, you'll be done, and then they'll file a document called a satisfaction of judgment. Now, that's not ideal. That's not as great as going to trial and winning. But if you take these things to trial, unless you have like an identity theft issue, you're going to lose. And you're going to not only lose, but they're going to add probably another $2,000 in attorney's fees on top of it, or more, and it won't be a good thing. So lump sum or stipulated judgment is usually the way to go once a lawsuit's been filed. The key things in the stipulated judgment you want to watch for are interest rate. You want to negotiate a 0% interest rate, so you're just paying off a specific dollar amount. You're not paying off something that's just never ending, where you're just dealing with this till forever, because it just keeps accumulating interest. You want to make sure there's a 0% interest, and that once it's paid off, they're going to satisfy that judgment. So I hope that helps when it comes to original creditor lawsuits by American Express. Again, check down in the notes here the links for this new tutorial I put together. I have some of the forms available in there for stipulated judgments and some of the kind of deeper dive strategies that I use when dealing with original creditors. Thanks for watching today.